Nigel Farage paints himself as the saviour of the working class, patron saint of the British boozer. But when you check the tab, it's the poorest families in Britain picking up the bill. He's running scared from the Green Party, hiding behind lackeys and hoping you're too distracted by the promise of cheap lager to notice he's dismantling the safety net. Right, so Zack Polanski, the leader of the Green Party, has challenged Farage to a leader-to-leader debate in Gorton and Denton ahead of the by-election there. It's a perfectly reasonable request. Reform's standing a candidate, the Greens are standing a candidate. Both party leaders could make their case to the voters and debate each other. That's how democracy works. That's literally what Farage claims to be a champion of. You'd think Nigel Bring It On Farage would jump at the chance to crush a lefty in the arena of ideas, right? Wrong. No, he didn't. He's bottled it. But the cowardice is actually funny when you look at what he just said moments before. When asked about Carol Vorderman calling him a grifter, Nigel put on his sad face. He actually stood there, straight-faced, and said this.
Carol Vorderman has called you a grifter and a liar, and she's pledged to enter politics this year. What's your response to that?
I'm looking forward to it. Marvellous. You know, people can abuse me all they like. I never, ever bother to return the compliment. I might have teased people over the years for being damp rags, but I've never actually really verbally assaulted or abused anybody. I'm not going to start now. I just, you know, it's sad.
He tried to paint himself as a polite, thick-skinned victim who was above the mudslinging. Fast forward 3 minutes, and someone mentions Zack Polanski and a gentleman facade instantly shatters.
Leader of the Green Party, Zack Polanski, has said today that he wants a leader-to-leader debate with you. Are you going to take him up on that?
No, I generally find if you pick a fight with a chimney sweep, you get covered in soot. So I might just leave that alone for the moment. And that's the nearest to an insult I'll ever come, all right? But, you know, he's got a fan club, all the heroin smokers and everything. I think he's absolutely marvellous, you know. I mean, jolly good.
So, which is it, Nigel? Are you a noble statesman who never lowers himself to insults? Or are you a thin-skinned bully who starts name-calling the second someone challenges you to a debate you know you'll lose? He's not avoiding the soot, he's the one that's throwing it. He's calling the leader of a political party, a party that's actually won 4 seats in Parliament, rather than just pinched them from another party, a chimney sweep, suggesting that even engaging him would somehow dirty Farage's reputation, which is absolutely rich coming from a man who spent the entire press conference desperately trying to distance himself from Jesse Epstein's files while admitting that his name appears 37 times. But apparently debating a Green Party leader is beneath him.
Look, I mentioned 37 times. Nick Candy's exchanged emails with him, trying to sell him apartments or whatever. Beyond that, I'm not aware that anybody in Reform had ever even met Epstein. I might be wrong.
And the thing is, this isn't Farage being clever or funny, this is Farage being a coward, because he knows exactly what would happen in that debate. He'd have to defend his actual policies, which, apart from immigrants bad, he doesn't have any others. Zia Youssef, who's clearly planning, saw how bad this looks, so he's been on Twitter and trying to do some damage control. But Zack has already debated him twice and wiped the floor with him, so no wonder Farage is scared to face him. But here's the real reason Farage won't debate, and this is where it gets properly ugly. Because the same press conference where he's dodging debates, Farage unveiled Reform's big policy to save British pubs. And the way he's planning to pay for it is by keeping the 2-child benefit cap in place, or reintroducing it, should we say. Which is a complete U-turn from his previous position, and it exposes him for exactly the kind of say-anything kind of politician he claims to despise. It was only a few weeks ago he criticised the 2-child benefit cap. He positioned himself as the champion of the ordinary working family being screwed over by the establishment. He's the one doing the whole "I'm on your side" with against the elite routine. But now he's suddenly decided that actually the 2-child benefit cap is great, because then he can use the money saved to cut taxes for the hospitality industry. And when challenged on this, when asked if the right look for Reform to be stopping poor families from getting additional benefit just to cut the price of a pint, Farage's response is quite revealing.
In terms of reinstating this benefit cap, whatever you think about the cap, these are quite poor families. Do you think it's the right look for Reform to be stopping those families from getting additional benefit income to cut the price of a pint?
You can argue, well, it's not just to cut the price of a pint, is it? It's actually to revivify private enterprise, to get more people back in work, whether it's part-time or full-time, to get the productive part of the economy going, which in turn, of course, leads to people paying more tax. So, yes. And look, we cannot... You can make arguments to give benefits to everybody for everything. But we're in a situation with an exploding, ballooning welfare budget. And I mean, this is one area of it, and obviously the other one is the mental health area, where you can go on benefits for having mild anxiety. I have it every day. I mean, there are things in life we have to cope with, and we're bringing kids up to believe that the normal ups and downs of life are now suddenly terrible traumas, and we're massively overdiagnosing kids with PTSD and many other things. So this is part of that plan. We can't stand aside. We can't stand aside and keep penalising those in work, keep penalising those running businesses or acting as sole traders in favour of, and yes, we're compassionate, but in favour of the non-productive side of the economy.
The non-productive side of the economy. That's what he's calling poor families with more than 2 children. Non-productive. As if the whole point of a social safety net isn't to make sure that kids don't suffer because of their parents' financial situation. And let's be really clear about what the policy actually means in practice. Because Farage and his goofy sidekick, Lee Anderson, tried to dress it all up in this rhetoric about supporting pubs and the hospitality in British culture. But the actual arithmetic here is taking money away from the poorest families in the countries, families who are struggling to feed and clothe their children, and giving it to private businesses in the form of tax cuts. That's the trade-off. That's the choice Reform is making. They could fund their pub policy in a dozen different ways. They could tax wealth. They could close corporate tax loopholes. They could cut spending on literally anything else. But they've specifically chosen to fund it by keeping the 2-child benefit cap in place, which means taking money from poor kids.
Now, people will ask, how are we going to pay for all this? It's a £3 billion package. And we will pay for it by lifting the 2-child limit for children where parents are British and work full-time. The maths have been done. Zia and his policy team have done the maths. It all stacks up. We owe it to our hospitality industry to do the right thing, to make sure they can go on trading, to make sure that every pub is still a parliament.
Because here's the thing about Farage, he's brilliant at the Pub Philosopher Act, the off-the-cuff remarks, the provocative sound bites, and the performance of being the straight-talking outsider. But the moment you pin him down on actual policy details, the moment you force him to defend the real-world consequences of his proposals, he crumbles. So here's my message for Farage, if he ever stumbles across this video. Either defend your policies in public, or admit what everybody else already knows. You're all talk. You'll say whatever you think will get you the headlines, and when it comes to actual governments, your answer is going to be the same. Cut taxes for business, hammer the poor, and wrap it all in enough flag-waving nationalism that your supporters don't know they're being conned. He wants you to think he's offering a round on the house. In reality, he's drinking the bar dry and leaving the poor to wash the glasses.